Hello everybody, Gerone Wright here again with another amazing video for your viewing pleasure. Um, my videos, I think the count is at maybe about 106 or 107 now that I have been sharing here on YouTube, um, in hopes of actually going viral and disclosing my informations that relating to ancient, like an ancient holy grail, genetic holy grail, and references being made in artwork, specifically Renaissance artwork, and later famous artwork that actually has underlying encryptions relating to that of how mankind was created. And this information has always been available from the beginning of time, and it has been privileged to a select few which understand the underlying messages which are in these encrypted paintings, and whereas the masses of our people of humanity have no idea as to what is going on around them. And it's my position that this gives the select few that has knowledge of this the opportunity to capitalize financially, medically, in so much as far as knowledge-wise, and a level of control of that of having to the knowledge and the power to play almost God with those that are unsuspecting or know what was going on. In some cases, even have the ability to create or a scenario of mass destruction of the rest of humanity or mankind outside of the group of those that know what is going on and what is caused for our existence. Okay. Um, I have a painting up of here, an unknown artist, and it's relating to monkeys. It's reminiscent. It reminds me. As I was just hanging this up and all. It reminds me of those pictures that we used to see in our science books in schools, relating to how a man and monkey, and how mankind was much like monkey, and we always use the apes and all to reference the genetic becoming of man. Um, Basically, I'm gonna show you here that these images that end up in mainstream and that are seemingly famous. I mean, they're like the ones that always make it into the mainstream as like hallmark cards as to the mankind um, becoming based on that of its evolutionary ancestor of man. Okay, this image here of these monkeys. If you notice, first of all, if you take and look at these, they're always almost set up the same exact way. Here's another of Neanderthals of here. Look at how these images are almost similar in a sense. The way the backdrop is, the way the landscape, and the way that they're shown, you know what I mean, in their seemingly natural habitat. Now, I'm going to show you some things about these images that you don't know. And I mean, because they do reference how we genetically became. And they're so in-depth and detailed that it is very shocking as to the nature and the extent that these informations are actually entailed in these paintings. First of all, I want to show you something that you don't see. And this is how this is referencing our ancestors. First of all, this is what you don't see. Look at these apes. Look at their features, their face features. I'm going to go to what I've discovered, and then I'm going to go back. And then you begin to look at their anatomy. Look there. I'm at the mouth, the nose, and the eye of an ape, facing this way. Then facing off to the back, there is another ape, and then you see these lines where it attaches to show you that there's a genetic link with us. Then you start seeing human-like faces, like right in here, witch-like woman, right there. And it gets better than this, so bear with me, people. Then in their knees, down in here, if you start looking at their anatomy, you start seeing other faces. And these represent, look at in this monkey's chest here, you see a face, there's a nose, there's a chin, there's a forehead, there's an eye, there's an eye. And what happens is with this is that where you see this monkey standing here on this genetic founding stone here, there's another monkey back here, by the way, I'm going to bring into play. It shows you the evolutionary passage of these. Let me show you this other monkey back here. All the way back here, it shows you a genetic bridge on the founding stones of the creation and becoming of these creatures. And it shows you back here how this monkey was genetically bridged. It even shows the creatures that it was genetically bridged with, and what was the resulting images that are encrypted in the rock, how this guy came here to be. He has these genetics from the initiating genetic manipulation, and it shows you how he evolved to from here through a stage, through an evolutionary process, came here to this likeness, and then it shows you how he passed those genetics off to this monkey, and then in each stage you show their likenesses changing, and their facial features are changing, and goes down and comes over. But let me get more into in detail. I'm gonna put something out there for you. I'm gonna get your attention real quickly here. So I'm not gonna jabber on. I'm gonna show you what was now. What was actually changed? Look down here, right here. The evidence is right here. Look how this monkey has this bone in his hand. A piece of ancient genetics. You know what those pieces are? They came from. Look down here, and look at the skeletal structure of this ape right here. Look at this. See the nostrils? See that? It shows you that this creature was genetically altered and then laid to rest, death and resurrection. And this is what you can realize in Renaissance artwork, with the same exact thing with Jesus. Wherever you see Jesus nailed to a cross, and then you have a lot of these Renaissance artists that put the skull at the base, at the founding of the cross. This represents the change and the genetic leap from these creatures to the likeness that's actually being depicted. And I don't have a picture of Jesus here with me. In fact, this ain't, bear with me for a minute. You're gonna have to. I have the file here, so let me just pull one up to give you an idea to make the link here. And I'm gonna pull a couple of these pictures up. I have one here, and I just want to show you. And they also do it like with Mary Magdalene and other biblical figures. I'm gonna pull up a few of these pictures and show you the correlation between what is being stated there and come on now, I should have pulled these up. I didn't even think about doing this before time, so I'm going to try to pull these skulls up here. Gosh. Alright, I have two. Oh, here's another. I have two there. Now, there's also one I have here with Mary Magdalene that I want to pull up, but I guess I'm going to have to go with what I have there. Oh yeah, I have it here. All right, good. Here's the one. You see these skulls right here? I'm going to make a link. That's the reason why I went through that silent moment with you and all. It's actually worth it, people. So bear with me. That was saying there with those monkeys. It's the same thing that's being said here with Jesus on the cross, and then at the bottom here you have the skull here with Mary Magdalene. Okay, then you have Jesus again on the cross, and you have this a Renaissance image of all of these other biblical figures. And then here you have this, where this is a bold statement of the cross, and the skull, and then the penis there, which represents a genetic a link or a change from this to everything we have here through the bloodletting and semen. That's what the penis represents. But I'm not going to get into that right now because I have videos on that. But I just wanted to use those three images to bring you to reality what is being said and happening here. And it shows you that this monkey possesses the bone to these ancient founding genetics, which is its ancestor, which is here lying on the ground, laid to rest. It shows you that this creature was genetically laid to rest, but a piece of it genetically was within this monkey. Now check this out, people. Now this monkey has his hand up toward this monkey here, and you see that the change, the dramatic change in this likeness to this likeness, and it has other creatures encrypted in the anatomy, but I'm not going to go there. We're trying to point pictures and stuff out to you, which I know what they are, but this is where I want to show you. Then you see this monkey with this stick saying it changed, and these genetics were passed off and going off to this direction, which it ultimately, check this out, you see these two are genetically bridged. You see his hand on that baby monkey's hand on that child monkey's hand on the stone, letting you know the stone was changed, and then it shows you these monkeys where these genetics took off at to a whole higher level, another height. And that's what the indication of this image is. But here, let me show you something before I let this image go. So it shows you, remember I said that there was a genetic change, a genetic bridge, and it calls for the changing likeness of these monkeys. Alright, it's right here, people. The evidence of it is right there in the overall picture. There's their ancestor, laid there, laid to rest. That was their ancestor, dead, gone away. What was created? It's right here in your face. Look at this new skull. It shows you. I'm at the top of the head portion here. Coming around. Here's the cranial where the eye, at the forehead. Here's the new eye socket. Coming around. Look at this, people, how coming around the nose bridge. Here's the mouth, and I'm pulling it in. There even shows in the mouth there a lip line, okay? And then there's the bottom jaw of this new creature that's created, and it shows you that, look, he's standing on it, genetically bridged, and these likenesses and these new genetics took off in these directions, and it began from back here. And I know what the cocktail was, that they actually genetically altered, played with to come into this likeness. Shows the evolutionary period of what happened, the creatures that are in between these two, then to here, and then it shows you what happened, what the major change was genetically. And it's right there, people. There's the face and head of a monkey right there. And the indication is that from the founding genetics, this green, the way this is made into, and these genetics into the jawline, this green right here, this landscape, this green grass vegetation signifies a reptilian bloodline manipulation, and that's what this is all about. And it shows you those new genetics being taken off. If I was to actually just take and put, if you were to put an eye right there, we have our new genetic breed of monkey, which is taken off genetically. And let me pull this in so you can see the lip line. Okay, so you can see the lip line of that guy. Now I have to come up. Where are we at? Look at that, people. Right there. Can you see that lip line? Right there. Eye socket. Look at the facial features of that, of being a skull. Look at this. Lay down the rest. Now, if I was not correct, how would I be able to do this? How would I even be able to do this? Showing you that this creature, taken down, this genetic process, manipulation through a chemistry back over here, which involved reptilians, shows you how the altering was made. Now this is just a recyclination. We have a reptilian ancestry that dates back to the beginning of our creation as well. These are periodic bridgings of reptilians bloodlines, which actually are recorded in each and every Renaissance artist artworks and every famous artist artwork of today. These manipulations and genetic bridgings are shown. Look at this, people. This monkey, this ancestor, laid down genetically, purposely laid down, removed from the genetic history of these creatures, the genetic evolution of these creatures, purposely put down. And this new breed mutation continued on, and it showed you the path. This artist knew of that. I'm going to bring up another line, another picture, and I'm going to show you the same thing. Okay? Here. This is another unknown artist, but of showing Neanderthals. Look at how, oh, hold on, I missed this some kind of way. First of all, you can see horn beams and everything. Look at up here, where you can see the initiations of the presence of faces, a chin, the hair going through the mouth area, creating the mouth, a nose, an eye. Out of the head, there's horns. You see that right there, people? See that face right there? I know what these genetic bloodlines are and what they represent. Come over here, and first of all, let me see if I can back this up. I'm going to show you something, and then I'm going to bring it in. First of all, remember I'm on this thing about this reptilian ape thing. Look at in the stone structure how this rock is different, but creates the face of our ape ancestor. Then it shows you the genetic lines going through. Now, see, I'm going to show you something about that. Then it shows you how the likenesses of these creatures change. It shows you genetic bridging, the same exact thing. And I'm going to show you something here. Look at the there's a nostril, there's a nostril, there's the top mouth area of this ape, there's the bottom chin area. Even shows around the jawline how it's created. Then there's an eye, and there's an eye, and there's the forehead. In the rock, showing you this creature. Now, wherever this creature is, there's a presence of the likeness of a woman. And, well, besides that, right here at this creature's mouth, I'm going to pull it in, and you will see the likeness of a witch-like woman who I dub as the mother of creation. See how she appears? There's her eye, there's her nose. There's her mouth there. Here would be her chin. And look how these genetics are shown intermingling. Look at this, people. Look, intermingling through this ape, this reptilian ape, coming off through and shown going in the direction of this being right here. And this is why this likeness of white is different than these creatures right here. It shows these genetic manipulations. People, this landscape contains every possible ancestor through this period that you can possibly never even imagine or never even comprehend. And I can see through my paranormal experience and encounter and show you how all of these genetic manipulations were done. And it actually shows you why it was done, and the genetic trail of these genetics, which actually calls for the likeness of this Neanderthal right here. And that's what it's all about. Now, go here. I'm going to take you to, before I take this picture down, because I'm not going to go. I don't know if you can see that as I seen it good earlier. Here, in the clothing of this Neanderthal right here. Let me see if I can come in closer. See if I can give you that. Back it off. If you notice right here, there are multiple morphing faces. There's the witch-like woman here, facing off this direction. Then in the middle, you have a face actually looking at. There's many morphing faces. Then there's likenesses of apes over here, the original ape, looking off this direction here. And look, you even see, I'm going to see if I can separate one for you. The right eye, the left eye, the nostril, and the mouth of an ape. Just look at it right there. I'm going to try to circle it without. There's the face of an ape right there. And the reason why this is hard to see, people, there's the forehead. I'm back up at the forehead, coming down by the nose area, coming down by the mouth, underneath the chin. There's an ape there. The reason why it's so hard to see, people, because they have many morphing faces. Now, come over here. There's an eye. There's a nose. There's the top lip. There's a lip line. There's the chin of an ape facing this direction. These morphing faces show you exactly what I just told you over here. With the mother of creation, this reptilian-like ape shown in the rock, and the likeness calls for there, is verified here. It shows you the path of these genetics through their body positioning, through their clothing. It lets you know what creatures were genetically bridged. Seeing these rhino-like creatures over here shows you that all of everything here in totality, the mutations and everything, it shows you how these creatures were genetically bridged and different likenesses were produced, and the entire landscape is utilized to show you as a genetic holy grail blueprint of how the process was done. Now I'm going to take down this picture and I'm going to show you another one. This is of Neanderthals. Now this one I already have highlighted. You see these Neanderthals hunting, and I have, let me put this, I have these features already highlighted. Remember that witch-like woman I told you always appears in the image, in the anatomy of this guy, right here, right there. That creature is shown, the witch-like woman is shown right there in his side abdomen area. Okay? Look at their body motion at this deer or gazelle, whatever it is there, antler, whatever you want to call it. Check this out. Each one of these arrow positions represents the attacking of this creature genetically, not for food, but genetically. And it shows you the genetics which were taken out, which were genetically bridged. And I'm going to show you something. Coming out of the grass, right here, there is a serpent, okay, which represents the reptilian. Let you know that this guy was genetically bridged with this creature. Now, if you looked right here in his neck, there's a forehead, there's an eye, there's a nose, and there's a mouth. Look at the face of that creature. Right there. You see that? These genetics, people, these genetic blueprints allow you to see what is going on. Look at this, people. This man's face is completely out of the picture, but it shows you his real face. It's right there. At the top of the head. Horn like there. You see that? Eye socket, nose, and face. Look at that. Now, I'm going to show you something else. Back here in the landscape, it shows you the larger version between the trees and the ground. It shows you genetics. And with this guy's sword raised up, it shows you that he was bridged from what is being depicted back here in this landscape, which I can clearly see, okay, which relate back to dinosaurs. What else is there that I can recall? But I can't see it right from here. Alligators, all of that stuff back there that is referenced anciently. It shows you back here in the backdrop. This is why his sword is raised back to there. Now over here with this guy, okay, shows you that the genetics that were taken out, and the face is right here in the rocks at his penis area. It shows you, oh, hold on, do I have that upside down? I have that upside. Oh no, I have it up right. I have it up right. There's a face in the rock that shows you that this was actually taken out. And this is why these likenesses change between these beings so dramatically. I'm going to show you. You see their likenesses change. And this is why. Because they were genetically bridged. The entire picture and the entire landscape. And this is the clearest of all. These are images that you can Google. All you have to do is Google images of Neanderthals. I guarantee you, you'll run across this image, and this serpent right here is shown encrypted in the grass, which you would not see until now, that I've shown highlighted. You will go right to it, and you don't have to realize I put the lines there. My markings are on this creature. Okay, and you can go here and see what happened, what occurred, and you see these genetic trails, and you'll see everything now that I've actually shown to you. I'm not going to read the entire picture to you, but even back here in the landscape, you will be able to see that these motions and these connections actually show you what actually happened. And even the utilization of the birds, I can tell you exactly what this all means, this entire picture. Okay, shows you how there was a genetic breeding, a genetic manipulation with ancient creatures of our world, okay, which resulted in a genetic change for humanity. And it shows you how through that cult-like chemistry, cauldron-like mixing cocktail of our genetics, they were shipped off to other places and other locations, which everything is all about, beginning with that of with ancient religion. Okay, now. Well, not beginning with that, but recorded like that with ancient religion. Okay, now I want to show you something else. Remember that this is not the first time you heard of me talking about these ancient reptilians and reptilian apes and all of that. Remember in the this image I gave you, I think of this as Francis Ball, I believe. This was released in the London paper, but I've decoded this. This was in the London Times, and I think in 1901 or something like that. There. Let me see. Let me get the history of that. I don't want to go back with what I'm talking about this again. Okay, it's an ancient ancestor, a man of 20,000 years ago. You can Google that image. This is what the original image looked like. And remember, I told you I did all of these encodings, and I showed you that this is also a genetic blueprint. And you can see creatures all up in here, beginning here with a face, and I'm going to show you my highlights in a minute. But the casting shadow of this guy is that of a reptilian ape, and I showed you how there is ancient dinosaurs and everything else in there, and even in the anatomy. I'm going to show you again here, because I have it already highlighted, I believe, there. Yes, I do. You see this, people? Look in the anatomy here. There's an ancient horse there. I showed you. There's a right here. There's a ancient rhinoceros. Like even the defining features of that, and it's shown with a bent penis, a black penis, double-headed penis, shows you that genetic bend between this creature, this reptilian ape right here. Look at the reptilian ape. This is the shadow that this is casting, entirely different of his body. Shows you ancient genetic cattle. It shows you ancient genetic, ancient rhinos. Look at this creature here. It shows you that there was a genetic transference through that of the penis, meaning sperm. And look how this bends around. And this ape's body creates the head, that of an ancient horse. Reminds me of one of those miniature horses there. But there's the head. There's the nose right there. There's the bottom mouth, and that other end of that penis is there, and then there's the eye within this ape. And there's other creatures there too, people. There's serpents and everything else, and it shows you these genetic manipulations. Look at these. Look at this like skull-like creature down here, and I think this is Francis Ball. But you can just Google the image, a man of 1,000 years ago. Now that I showed you this, I have a video on this as well, too. Look at this, and you'll see faces. There's an eye, and you see these black faces. These are our ancestors. There's a reptilian-like being looking up with his arms stretched out. There's a skull on the ground. Remember I told you the death and resurrection thing? That skull appears. Same exact thing. These skulls are laying down, letting you know what this creature rose from all of this down here, encrypted in this artwork. Okay. Here's another, people. I'm not going to go into much detail. I'm going to keep it moving here. I just want to hammer the point home that these creatures. Here's a close-up of that picture I just took down too. I did a video on it, so I don't want to hammer too much on that. Here's a better close-up. But look at these creatures. These are the likeness of our black ancestors here in the darkened area. Look at this. Well, besides him as well too, but it shows you these genetics, how they were manipulated and how they were taken out. But what is more compelling is the fact that this creature is not casting a shadow onto this rock as its own, but that of our reptilian ancestry, which is this guy's, where this guy evolved from, a reptilian ape state. And I know where this guy came from as well too. And then it shows you how he was genetically bridged with ancient dinosaurs of our world through the penis, which is the semen. They didn't have needles back then, people, where you can genetically alter someone by injecting them with needles and taking genetics from one creature. No, it was done through the old-fashioned way, the penis, and through the blood. And this shows you a bent-over penis going from this creature's mouth, bridging through this guy, and look, and the ancient horse right there is the eye. There's also a snake in there too, people. Look at this ancient genetic of horse there. The head turned backwards in this guy's body, and it shows you how this guy came into his likeness, which later calls for our likeness. And all of this stuff is being continued. Look at that. I'm at the bottom mouth. There's the mouth. There's the nose. There's the eye socket. There's the forehead. Look at the ape right there. I'm coming around the front of his mouth. My pencil's going over the bridge of his nose, and there's his forehead. All of their likenesses are encrypted in their body. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Oh, gosh. Excuse me. But their likenesses through these genetic bridgings are present as well. It shows you the different likenesses all throughout the body, the mutations from these creatures. And this is why I'm telling you that things that, how our heart is so compatible with that of a pig's, but our body rejects it. There are mutations that are actually between that, and I can tell you and show you what those genetic mutations are, and perhaps even create the perfect heart besides our own that actually work in the body. Here's another Neanderthal image. Remember this image here? I got a video on this as well too, people. It shows us the same exact thing, how these genetics began. Do I have the little image or no? No, I don't have the little image there. But anyway, it shows you. Okay, yeah, I have how these genetics were altered and manipulated. Now this is the middle guy here. He's sitting there, showing you that he picked up genetics from a chemistry that actually occurred over here, and it resulted in the N likeness. Look how he went like from monkey-like to like an Indian or a Mayan-like being, and it shows you how these genetics were picked up. They came from over here, and it shows the genetic trail of these genetics, and it came here. Now check this out. Shows you, and it looks like he's coloring or drawing on a rock. He's not. It shows you that he picked up the genetics which were from over here, which were manipulated, and then it shows you what was created in his body. And here's genetic change, which appears not just here with this witch-like woman. This would be her mouth. She even has teeth, her chin, and the side of his anatomy, like in the other one that I showed you. In fact, remember I showed you that witch-like woman in the side? It's the same identical thing that is stated right there. Look, people. It shows you right here. There's her witch-like face right there. It screws an overbearing nose. There's her mouth, her chin. Her eye would be there. Now what was being created? It shows you. Look at his knee. He's holding a head in his knee. His hand on his knee. But there's also his genetic change and likeness right there. You see it? That's what that's all about. And these genetics moved on, and it shows you how they eventually evolved into. Oh, can I get that better? Yeah, there you go, people. Look at that. Shows you how he picked up the genetics from over here, a cocktail chemistry going on over there, and it came through his body, which caused for it, and then this here, and then this new likeness of mankind emerged over here. And it shows you how it was done. And I can read this entire image. Amazing, isn't it? Here, what's going on? Where was he at over here picking up this stuff here? I'm gonna bring that image up. Now look what was going on over here. That where he picked up the genetics from. Look at this. Look at this chemistry. What's going on over here? And then look there. And then in the anatomy of this guy, remember I showed you? Look, here's the mutations. Look at the body. Look at this. It shows you that this person over here, which I am assuming to be a male or female, maybe both. I don't know what the world it is because I can't see the anatomy. But look how it shows this bridging. Like in the first image that I brought up with the two babies. Look at this. Look at the foot touch. Look at the chemistry. And now start looking at the mutations. The faces, mouth, nose, eye, forehead. And then look at it gets more apparent. Look. There's 3 faces here. I'm going to cover one up so you can. Alright, I'm going to cover these up right there to produce. Look at the little monkey's face right there. Then my finger is on one. Alright, this makes number 2. Look at that. Right there. Cover this one up. I'm upside down. Cover this one up. This is sucks doing this upside down. Can I get there to the eye? There's the eye there. There's the top of the mouth. There's the bottom of the mouth. There's the forehead. Look how the forehead comes and separates it. Lets you. It's sequestered from this guy's hair or what's it called, fur, to let you see the forehead. It creates another face of the monkey, and then it shows you the monkeys how they evolved from monkey state to that of man. Morphing stages, people. Look, 1, 2, 3, and look at this. Shows you these genetics. Chemistry over here. Well, actually began back over here. Came to here, and then picked up over here and calls for the eventual likeness of the other creature, the original closer likeness to man. Oh, here's the 3 morphing faces of those monkeys. I have them already highlighted. Look at this, people. Look at that. And then it changes and then goes, and then it shows you how. All beginning from back here to there, to there, to there, and then it shows you the resulting likeness right there. Genetic bridging and genetic manipulation controlled by our ancestors. More troubling and shocking, not just that, is that that our ancestors knew how to genetically manipulate and alter their own genes. But more troubling is the fact that there was a knowledge of it being known all of the time and going on today. And now I'm bringing it to you in these shocking videos. That is more disturbing than I don't know what. Imagine how many people have suffered needlessly for cancer, needlessly for AIDS, needlessly for everything, as far as medical wise. And some of this stuff being caused by these continued bridging and manipulation processes that are going on today, which actually occurs in our founding place, which is that of Africa. Well, actually, Africa is not the founding place, because I found out that North America and South America is where all mankind initially originated from. Okay, and I'll do another video on that and let you know how I came to that conclusion, or maybe when I go viral I can do that as well. But I'm telling you that life began through that of our fish-like ancestors first, then evolved on to Africa. And what is happening is that a genetic bridging is happening in Africa and those areas, and they're being reintroduced with genetics. Those genetics being taken out, and there's a process right now that is actually destroying that of all black ancestry, and the new ancestry is being created through genetic bridging and the genetic process. When I have a scientific team behind me, I'll be able to explain it in a more scientific and factual way. But until now, you're going to have to accept my layman's terms of explanation, and you can see what's going on. Now, these rocks, all of these images in the background, they show you what is happening. Remember that witch-like woman's face right here that I showed you? Right here, the teeth and all, the chin, the eye, the nose, and all of that. Well, look at, you see the face. There's an eye, there's a forehead, there's a nose, there's a mouth right there. And then look how the head becomes larger. Coming over to the chin, there's a mouth, there's a nose. Look at the eye shown caught up in here. There's the bridge of the forehead. Look how this is shown. And then this guy, look, and there's a nose. There's the face again. Now check that out. And in this face, look at the other face coming out of the nose. There's a chin, there's a mouth, there's a nose, and look at what is shown happening. This guy is pulling genetics out of the nose into the mouth. You know what that means, people? Genetics which were being pulled, strung along, and it shows you their path. Starting with this woman's likeness here, shown being pulled out of the body. You can see the morphing faces, her multi-dimensional morphing faces. Look, beginning here, coming up, you see them pulled. I showed you how many now already. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of her likenesses. This is the fourth one coming out of her nose. And then look, underneath her chin, which is her first nose, is her likeness again, shown pulled out. And here's her fifth likeness right here. Shows you how she mutated into that being there, and that being looks like identical to that, to this, and it shows you how these genetics travel. People, I don't know why I'm not viral yet, but I can tell you right now, something's gonna give, and something's gonna give real soon. Okay, my name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel. And I hope that you enjoy this video as much as you enjoyed all my others. And again, share my information, link it with others. Okay, it's well appreciated. And there's going to be change. There's got to be change, people, because this is something that is better than the Holy Grail. And there is a record, an ancient record, people, that can be read. I can read it through my paranormal experience and encounter. And I will continue bringing you videos like this. I have no end. Because the record, when there is genetic manipulation and alterings on such this mass scale of level that I'm showing you throughout all history of mankind, there has to be a mass evidence of there being a record. And people, art is the key, and that's where it's all at. These people knew. These people are continuing to do it today. And I'm telling you now that we are being cross-referenced. And there is a mass scale genetic record of it all. And I've discovered it. It's a genetic Holy Grail. And it shows you the pathways of all of these different genetics. It's not just one. It's not just two. There's many genetic trails that we actually took and were bridged with. And these records are indicating it all, and it calls for all of our different ancient civilizations and different likenesses of the creatures that we have become today. You can also see me on my Alien UFO site as well. Thank you.